Good morning everyone and welcome. I'm Emily Priday, Director of Workforce, Inclusion and Experience here at the New South Wales Public Service Commission. Thank you for joining us all today for the Public Service Commission's International Day of People with a Disability event. It's great to see colleagues from all over the sector tuning in to join us for today's conversation. Before we begin, just a couple of housekeeping points to note. We have live interpreters and you will see on screen we also have closed captioning. You can turn the captioning on and off via the CC button in the bottom right-hand corner. There will also be opportunities to ask questions of Naz Campanella, our keynote speaker. You can enter your questions in the questions bar just below the screen. On the top right-hand corner of the player, you'll also see a link where you can access resources from this event. I would now like to invite Uncle Alan Murray from Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council to provide a welcome to country for us.
Many thanks. Good morning. How are you? My name's Alan Murray. I'm the chairperson of the Metropolitan Local Land Council. Sydney is looking very good today with the sunrise, but also when the sun rises, it goes across Sydney, across New South Wales. But also want to acknowledge all Aboriginal people online, but also want to acknowledge Padagaran, Bangaroo, Pamoy and Mosquito. These are our legendary warriors who fought for this country at the beginning of time, European time, here in Sydney. But more importantly, want to say thank you to those who voted for us in the referendum. And it means a lot for me because it means that we want you to enact all the different plans, land activation plans, strategies, and all reconciliation plans. And that is, we will continue our survival in this great country called Australia, and we will live another 65,000 years or more because we've been here, we are the first, and we certainly don't want to be the last. So with that, have a great morning. Welcome to Eora country on Gadigal land, and also all the Aboriginal clans across New South Wales. Good morning to you.
Thank you very much for that warm welcome, Uncle Alan. We are very lucky to have some excellent speakers with us here today who'll all challenge us to think differently about disability inclusion. This year's theme for International Day of People with a Disability is United in Action to rescue and achieve sustainable development goals for, with and by people with persons with disabilities. These themes always challenge us, and rightly so. But the one thing I take away from this year's theme is a call to action for all of us to ensure fair and equitable workplaces. And to do that, we need people with a disability contributing to conversations, co-designing policies and programs, and being part of the decisions that impact their lives. So today's speakers will share what this means to them and how it can contribute to the improvements that we're making across the New South Wales Government workforce. I'd now like to welcome our Public Service Commissioner, Katharina Lowe, to provide her address for us today.
Thank you, Emily, and thank you, Nez, and hello to everyone joining us online. I want to start by acknowledging that we're hosting this event from Gadigal land. I pay my respects to the elders of this land, and I extend that respect to our Aboriginal colleagues joining us online today. This year's theme is United in Action to rescue and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals for, with and by persons with disability. It's about everyone working together to make the world better and fairer for people with disability. The Sustainable Development Goals of decent work and reduced inequalities resonate with the work we're doing across the New South Wales Public Service in relation to disability employment. Increasing opportunities for meaningful work for people with disability and creating an equitable workplace experience benefits both employees and agencies. I want to thank our speakers today, the wonderful Naz, and you'll hear from Jackie Lynn in a moment from the Anti-Discrimination New South Wales. We're fortunate to be able to draw on their experience, knowledge and expertise. It's been particularly valuable to hear Naz's insights into how we can proactively address barriers and empower people with disability. As you may know, the New South Wales Public Service is the largest employer in Australia with more than 430,000 employees. We have the opportunity and the responsibility to lead on employing people with disability and ensuring our workplaces are inclusive places where people feel respected, valued and supported to do their best work. We know that people with disability are underrepresented in the New South Wales public sector. That's why we remain committed to not only increasing employment of people with disability, but also improving their employee experience. According to the workforce profile data, 2.5% of employees in the sector identify as having disability. However, our 2023 PMES results show that 6.7% of respondents report having disability. Now, there are various reasons for this discrepancy, from the definition of disability to fears about discrimination, concerns about privacy and workplace culture. Further work is needed to continue encouraging people to share their disability and to create the environment that supports them to do so. It's therefore important that we continue working on increasing psychological safety, uplifting manager capability, and implementing strategies to prevent negative workplace behaviours. Linking back to today's theme, one of the most powerful ways we can reduce inequalities for people with disability is through workplace adjustments. The PMES results show that this continues to be a barrier. 1/3 of people with disability required workplace adjustments, but only half of these people received them. Effective workplace adjustments are a key enabler for people with disability. Most are simple to arrange and involve little, if any, cost. What's important is for people to have what they need to be able to participate in the workplace on an equal basis. While each employee's workplace adjustment is unique, we need to address some of the common issues we're hearing from employees. Things like lack of clarity and consistency, the level of management support, fear of discrimination, and having multiple steps and barriers throughout the process. That's why we're so pleased to have Jackie here today to talk through a number of case studies developed by Anti-Discrimination New South Wales. Work is also underway to develop a sector-wide workplace adjustment passport and a model workplace adjustment policy. The passport will make it easier for people with disability to obtain the adjustments they need in the workplace. It will also mean they no longer have to retell their story and go through all the steps again when they change jobs within the sector. The model policy will be principled and provide consistent guidance on workplace adjustments and equip employees and agencies with information on their rights, responsibilities and options in relation to workplace adjustments. Next year, I intend to use my statutory direction power to direct all public sector agencies to implement a workplace adjustment policy that meets certain minimum standards. Agencies will be able to use our model policy and adapt it to their own context. Now, we've heard from many of you that improving access to workplace adjustments and embedding an inclusive culture are the most impactful initiatives we can do together as a sector. This is also echoed by the Disability Royal Commission as one of their key recommendations. I think it's timely and important that we recognise the work done by the Royal Commission, including their final report, which was released in September. I especially want to recognise the courage of those who gave their testimonies about their experiences and the experiences of their loved ones. The depth and breadth of the Commission's report requires thorough review and reflection. It's a significant moment where we, as New South Wales Government, should reflect on what we're doing well, where we can do better, and any new areas or opportunities that we should take up. As many of you are aware, New South Wales Government had its own disability review aimed at identifying further actions that can be taken within the sector to improve disability employment. The actions recommended by the review were endorsed by the New South Wales Secretaries Board, and implementation is well underway. This is a whole-of-government program of work that requires a high degree of cross-agency collaboration. Significant progress has been made on all recommendations. For instance, we've introduced the social model definition of disability. We've improved sharing of best practice through the PSE's Belonging and Inclusion Library. We've developed inclusive recruitment guidance, and we've also developed disability inclusive training. These are good achievements, but what I want to highlight is how we're delivering on these recommendations. We've heard loud and clear from our disability employee networks, nothing about us without us. In establishing the governance structure to support and drive these recommendations, we've been intentional about how we not only consult with, but also bring people with disability to the table. I have the privilege of co-chairing the steering committee that oversees the implementation of the recommendations, together with the Education Secretary, Murat Dizdar. The steering committee comprises a senior executive and senior employee with disability from each portfolio across the sector. In addition, we have an expert reference group. This is a key feedback mechanism that assists teams during implementation and ensures that lived experience is incorporated at every stage of implementation. Now, we'll continue to work towards these priority outcomes and make sure we share and learn from each other along the way, both through the Disability Review actions and in our response to the Disability Royal Commission recommendations. Improving outcomes for people with disability requires action at all levels. We need to collaborate with each other and especially with people with disability to ensure we create an equitable experience for all employees. Finally, while International Day of People with Disability is a time to reflect on our progress towards disability inclusion, it's also about celebrating the contribution that employees with disability make. We're a better public service when we have people with disability contributing and thriving in our workplaces. So, thank you to our colleagues with disability who generously share their experience and keep pushing the New South Wales public sector to be more inclusive. Thank you.
Thank you for Katharina. Thank you for sharing some of the great work underway already, but also foreshadowing where we need to get to next. And also a big thank you to Katharina for her very committed leadership in this space. I would now like to invite Jackie Lynn to speak. Jackie is the Acting Manager at Anti-Discrimination New South Wales and has worked at Anti-Discrimination New South Wales in a variety of roles for 16 years. Jackie will be launching the Anti-Discrimination New South Wales new workplace adjustment case studies, as well as discussing a bit of her team's work in relation to disability. Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks, Emily, and thank you, Katharina and Naz. As mentioned, my name's Jackie Lynn. I'm the Acting Executive Manager at Anti-Discrimination New South Wales. My pronouns are she, her, and for colleagues with vision impairment, I'm a cis Caucasian woman in my early 50s with short blonde curly hair. It's good to be here, and we're excited to be launching our new workplace adjustments case studies. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and to Aboriginal colleagues joining us online today. At Anti-Discrimination New South Wales, we're committed to eliminating discrimination and promoting equality and equal treatment for everyone in New South Wales, including by resolving inquiries and complaints, raising awareness about discrimination and its impacts, and taking action to influence change. Every year, we answer more than 2,500 inquiries and help to resolve around 1,800 complaints. Disability discrimination is consistently the most common type of complaint we receive, and more than a third of all disability discrimination complaints are around discrimination in employment. Answering inquiries and resolving complaints is one of our core functions, but another is raising awareness of our services and the impacts of discrimination. This work is undertaken by our Communications and Engagement team, and we have a dedicated officer, Morlai Kamara, who engages with stakeholders in the disability sector to co-design and deliver projects such as this workplace adjustment case studies we're launching today. Thank you to Morlai and to the team for your great work on this project. In July 2021, Anti-Discrimination New South Wales started this workplace adjustments project following community consultation on the challenges faced by people with disability in finding work and within the workplace. A key theme from that consultation was that many people with disability experience challenges in accessing workplace adjustments at every stage of the employment process, in accessing workplaces, attracting candidates, interview and onboarding, and career progression. Another message we got from that consultation was the need for the public sector to provide leadership in creating inclusive workspaces. ADNSW worked with disability employee network leaders and diversity and inclusion teams from across 6 New South Wales government departments for 12 months, and that collaboration resulted in the co-design and co-creation of 2 videos and 2 podcasts, which we launched in September 2022. The videos and podcasts were very well received, and they've gone on to be well utilised resources with more than 3,000 video views and 500 podcast downloads. Following the release of the videos and podcasts, we continued to receive questions and concerns about workplace adjustments in the New South Wales public service sector, which resulted in the workplace adjustments case studies we're launching today. The aim of this new project was to create a collection of de-identified case studies. We wanted to highlight some of the challenges people with disability face when trying to access workplace adjustments and raise awareness among public sector managers, HR teams, and diversity and inclusion teams. Managers, talent acquisition staff, and HR teams all have a role in making workplace adjustments available and effective. Between August and October this year, we interviewed 15 staff with disability in the New South Wales public sector. These managers and frontline staff talked about the workplace adjustments they have requested, accessed, and been denied. They shared personal stories and highlighted the importance of workplace adjustments. They also provided tips for other managers about how to support their staff with disability. So, without further ado, I'm delighted to launch our workplace adjustments case studies. These stories, shared by our participants, will contribute to ongoing Public Service Commission and New South Wales Government Department initiatives to make our workplaces more inclusive. You'll find the case studies on the Anti-Discrimination New South Wales website and in the Public Service Commission library. The tile for each case study provides a high-level summary of people's experiences, some good and others not so good. But throughout the project, participants generously shared their thoughts about the little things that can be done to make workplace adjustments more accessible and create inclusive workplaces for all. We thank each one of them for their participation in this project. As you will see, there's a huge variety of stories, from waiting 2 years for new office furniture to difficulties transferring workplace adjustment arrangements from one department to another. Some participants shared positive experience, but this often came down to a supportive manager. Many participants talked about inclusive design and how that can remove barriers and create a better workplace experience for everyone. As one participant said, remove the barriers and then people don't have disabilities, just diversity. The call to action at the end of the case studies is the same. If you need workplace adjustment information, visit the Public Service Commission website or contact your diversity and inclusion, work health and safety or HR teams. You may also wish to reach out to your disability employee network. If you have trouble accessing workplace adjustments or experience disability discrimination at work, please contact Anti-Discrimination New South Wales on 1800 670 812. You can find our workplace adjustment series including videos, podcasts, and now these case studies at antidiscrimination.nsw.gov.au. Well, that's it from me. If you'd like to keep up to date with Anti-Discrimination New South Wales news and resources, you can subscribe to our monthly newsletter, Equal Time. The QR code on the screen will take you straight to the page where you can subscribe. We'll also share this presentation and a link later today. You can also follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. If you'd like to speak to one of our experienced inquiries officers, you can call us, as mentioned, on 1800 670 812, Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Or at any time you can let us know of an incident via our community reporting tool on our website. Thank you for having me here today. We look forward to continuing this important diversity and inclusion journey together. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, and also congratulations for launching those new case studies and also that suite of tools around workplace adjustments. We know that people learn through stories, and these are a really practical way to bring some of these stories to life and increase inclusion in our workplaces. So we're now coming to the end of our event, and I want to thank you all for your participation. I hope you feel really encouraged by what you've learnt from the speakers' experience today, but also some of the examples of support that we've seen in practice. I really encourage you to apply what you've learnt today back in your own workplaces and help us create a workplace culture in which requesting workplace adjustments is easily accessible and supported, ensuring that our workplaces are fair and equitable. After the event, you will see a web link to a survey, and we'd really love your feedback about the event. We'd appreciate it if you can take the time to complete this. We'll send the survey link via email, and we'll also include links to some of the resources today which are on our Belonging and Inclusion Library. Apologies from us, I know there's been a few intermittent sound issues as well throughout the recording. We will make sure that there's lots of content on our Belonging and Inclusion Library, so those of you who may have experienced some difficulties with that can still experience and see some of the content that we have available. Thank you to Katharina, to Jackie for coming and sharing your wisdom with us today. And of course, today would not have been possible without a huge effort from my team. A big thank you to the project leads, Fiona Winfield, Nikki Akwatan Muhi, Tad Nolan, and Peaches Vergara for making today happen. Thank you again, and have a wonderful day.